everybody. Just explaining the basic things that I believe in to build a coherent visual identity. Okay. There is this space. I'm very proud of this space. I didn't paint it actually at all, but what it says and the values behind and what you feel when you enter the space. This is something that I really intended. I mean, purposely thought of it. And I don't know which startup is in charge of plants. I heard there are some. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm sorry. We're really bad at this. And I feel ashamed. I really feel ashamed. We are not good at that, okay? I would love to use your service. Okay, so my name is Alice. I'm the CEO and co-founder of The Family. We started The Family 7 years ago. And basically, for me, since the beginning, it's been very important to express something different from what you see usually in the startup world, in the business world, in the tech world. I wanted to express who we were. And that's what I would like to convey as a message to you this morning. It's how to express through your brand identity who you are. Okay? All right, let's play a little game, if you want. I'm going to ask you some questions. You have to choose. You have to ask yourself, if you look at these two images, I'm not asking you to raise your hands. Huh? Just ask yourself, who do I prefer?
Trump.
Okay. Nobody there laughing, you know. Okay, I'm asking you, okay? You ask yourself, okay? Another one, who do I prefer, Walt Disney or Miyazaki?
Who's the second?
Miyazaki. You know the manga Princess Mononoke? Miyazaki, no?
He did manga?
Ah, yes, I think so as well, exactly. You just ask yourself, who do I prefer? Ask yourself, who do I prefer? Microsoft or Apple?
That was what we're doing.
And now, ask yourself, who do I prefer? Bird or Lime? I don't know if you've ever used e-scooters. So the thing is, with this little game, it's impossible to choose between these two. To be honest, if you've been a user, you're starting thinking, oh, the ride was easier with this one. You're starting features to think about products, okay? You're thinking useful differences. You're thinking tools, okay? Versus when I was showing you this, that, and this, you were feeling it. It was kind of obvious, okay? You didn't have to think when I used Trump or when I used Obama. No, you know, you didn't have to, when it was the time of Trump or Obama, it was really obvious. So I show you face, name, images, and color, and you felt emotion related to values or not, okay? And this is brand identity. This is visual identity. Is how can we, through what we present, convey messages, convey values, more than just a useful product, more than just the features. How can we be as obvious? How can we create emotions through what we present? That's the thing we have to ask ourselves. And why, in the end, so I will send you this presentation, but I just took this quote from Simon Sinek, the guy who wrote this book, Start with Why, exactly, okay. The goal is not to make business with people who need what you sell, but to make business with people who believe in what you believe, okay? People don't buy what you're doing, but why you're doing it. So the whole purpose of brand identity is about creating a bond, creating a relationship, creating all of your tribe, the people who believe in the same thing as you, can recognize that they are with you just through looking at a landing page, through receiving an email, through interacting with your startup. They should feel we belong to the same group because we share the same value. Okay. This is what is brand identity all about. Now, just very basically, brand identity, if we have to explain it concretely, it is the logo, the website, the slides, the email, the video, the post. It's not only what you see, it's also what you read, okay? It's it's the whole thing. I'm not just talking about the colors, all right? I'm talking about the words that you use. I'm talking about the tone of voice. I'm talking about the personality, the character that you choose to be when you talk with your customers. Who is that person? And you are very lucky today because actually you can use tons of things. There are a lot of tools, and I really encourage you to use that tools, okay? So you have LogoJoy if you want to have fun designing your logo and test lots of things. You have Squarespace Wix, so if you want to create your landing page in one day. Who has no landing page here? There is nothing online? Okay, cool. Who is proud of their brand identity today? Cool, okay. Who is a designer in the room? Cool, all right. All right, Canva, that is really a tool that I love. It's making people who don't know a shit of Photoshop and create beautiful images for presentations or for the Instagram account or for emails. Color Hunt if you want to have some galleries of colors that fits together. The Dawn project, if you don't know it already, it's really cool to find all of the icons. And Pexel, which is I think it's actually it's a German startup, a great startup that allow you to find amazing pictures for free, but really good pictures, not the pictures that you see everywhere. But if I play with that directly, yes? Yes. Yes. Not in this presentation, but I will send it to you. Okay. I don't remember the name, but we have a lot of websites for fonts, good fonts. So if you go directly to the tools and don't think about the why and don't think about the value, really, and the personality, and take and dedicate a long moment to choose, you can play, but it's going to be boring, okay? So I've been playing here with the family, and obviously I see here, what I see is just another startup thing, okay? What exactly I wanted to avoid being. And if you look at all the visuals that we use for our events or to communicate, or it's usually something like that. And I'm not telling you this is beautiful. It's not a matter of is it beautiful or is it not beautiful. It's just that there are choices here. There is a symmetry. We always do some symmetry, whatever we do. Why? Because we want to change the ecosystem. And ecosystems are micro worlds, you know, and micro worlds looks like a theater with different actors, you know, and players. And we want to give this sensation that inside the family it's a mini world, you know, and a mini ecosystem, and there are some different actors and players, and as if life was a theater. So there is this symmetry just to give this aspect of a little world. There is a lot of, we always use collage, you know, using photo and putting it directly on an image because it's a reference to an old style in art which was kind of a revolution when they arrived in the art space, the collage, and convey a message of we don't give a shit. Like we melt the things together, and we want to by being free, allow anyone around to feel free. Okay, this is what it is behind. Huh? And Art Deco style, if you look at the way we've designed this logo and what is around, it's Art Deco. And Art Deco in the art field, it's a movement that have been accompanying the revolution, the industrial revolution. We started, to build the buildings that you can see in New York, for instance. They are Art Deco, and it's really like a movement of ambition. Okay, so all of this, I mean, it's not for free. What you choose, the direction you choose, there is always a reason behind. And you don't have to know everything about heart and heart movement, etc. You just decide, and your job is to decide at the beginning, what do you want to convey as a message? And everything that you will choose will come from these decisions. It's not like you wake up, oh, I like this color, oh, I feel like I like it, yeah, so I'm going to choose that. This doesn't make sense because it won't be long term, okay? So it's really important that you make your decision of what are my values. So why is this brand identity so important? It's because what you see reveals a lot of what you believe in and what are your values. And I love this quote from Victor Hugo: "Form is the substance which rises to the surface." Okay? This is very important. Another way to say it is, often we hear that, and I think it's true, that whatever you can say when you are pitching, we don't give a shit about the most important is not the content. The most important, like 80% of what the public will receive is your attitude and your energy. And that's what the people will remember. What are we talking about here? We're talking about exactly the same thing. What we get, what we see. It's not only aesthetic, it's the energy, the feeling, And this is the most, it's really something that is super important. So it's not just the last thing. So I really want you to think about brand design, brand identity and design as something very important since the beginning. And I know we have some B2B, most of you have some B2B startup, but it's the same, okay? For sure, sometimes brand identity is nice to have. It's not the first thing you have to think about, okay? Because you think that the first thing is having an MVP that is really convincing and having a product that is really making a difference for my clients. Yes, but still, what will make anyone buy your product? It's you. When you say fake it till you make it, so you have to be first a good seller before being a good maker, right? You have to make sure that there is a market. Making sure that there is a market, it means that you have to create some magic, some relationship between you and the buyer. And this means that you are really the one that makes the difference. And when you're not in the room, what is staying is your website. Okay? If I want to remember you, I will go on your website. And just looking at your website, I should feel you. I should feel your energy. And I should be convinced as if you were with me in the room. Okay, so brand identity should also say, when I say brand identity, what you see, the website, it's not only the colors and the logo, it's also the words that you're using, the punchlines, okay? All of this should should talk as if you were talking, okay? It should create the same magic. All right, my friends. So, how do we do that? There are some steps, okay? So first, we're going to go through the swag steps. Secondly, I'm going to give you some cases, and we will wrap it up with some rules, guidelines that you will keep for you. Okay? It's been 7 years that we do that at the family, and it's more than 600 startups that have been coming to the family. So at the end, after something like 2 or 3 years, we decided to create a kind of protocol, okay, a kind of process, because it was always the same question we needed to ask ourselves. So this I'm going to send it to you. For the ones who feel totally at ease with their branding, do not, I mean, this is losing time, okay? If you want to rework on your brand identity, here are the steps. So first you have a swag form. Swag form, it's just a form of, it's a question, it's a lot of questions that you have to ask yourself. You ask yourself with your team, so you gather during something like, I mean, minimum 2 hours, but it can go through 3 days, okay, to really think about who you are, what are your values, what is the product, and going through all of these questions. There are 3 parts in this swag form. So what the basics your product is doing and why you're doing this, and the mission. And then I ask you to do a little exercise, which is the Chinese portrait. So starting to think, if the startup was a city, if the startup was a famous song, if the startup was a plate, so start playing a little bit with the character of your startup, okay? Even if you're not a designer, because I know nobody raised their hand saying I'm a designer, I really tell all of the startups that we accompany, it's better when it's you who choose and who dare using your own emotions to making those choices and not trusting from scratch a designer, an external designer. It's really important that you think, what do I want to give as what is the image that I choose? Okay. The second, once you've done that, you have a clear vision, okay, of who you want to be. Then I'm going to ask you to do what we call a picture hunt. So even if you don't go to museums or appreciate, I don't know, art especially, start opening your eyes for at least 3 days, up to, after I think it's a game that you don't want to stop, and start looking at the world as if everything could be parts, could be things of your brand, okay? In the street, watching TV or watching Netflix, or everything that you think, is it my startup, is it not my startup? And play this game, because it's really hard to anticipate what you want, but once you have a lot of images in front of you, you can ask yourself, is it us, is it not us? It's a game that actually Steve Jobs was playing with his designer team. Because it was really hard for him to give the very definition of what was an Apple design. So what he did with his designer team was, on Friday we meet, you bring tons of ideas and images, and I will say, this is Apple, this is not Apple, this is Apple, this is not Apple. And then the others could learn, but I think it's super smart, because it's not something magic coming out of your head only. It's something confronted to reality, and often design is something that you realize afterwards. You know, it's something you realize once you see it. It's me or it's not me. Okay, so try to play that game and to do this image hunt. And you can use Pinterest, for instance, or whatever you want, to gather tons of images that makes you think of your startup. And be open. And there is something that is funny, because most of the, I mean, a lot of the entrepreneurs that we met are engineers, okay? And engineers think very rationally. And for instance, if they are doing something, I don't know, a B2B marketplace to solve the restaurant problem, yes. So they will go to Pinterest, and they will type in restaurant, or design pizza, or, you know, and you will have as an image the boring images that you see everywhere, okay? And the thing is that in design, you really have to be super specific. So you'd better start with just the name of an artist that you've seen recently and you love, and from this artist, typing plus pizza, and see what comes, you know? Rather than starting with the generic words, because it's dead like that. And that's how you end up in the very, how to say, not embodied, you know, like empty imagery that we see, that is super fucking boring. You know, we have the opportunity to express something through identity, so let's express it. What is funny is that we are all influenced by Silicon Valley startups. Obviously, when they've been building giants, and it's a good, I really think that they are teaching a lot of things to do. But there is one thing, I mean, like the brand identity they have is the consequence of a certain culture, okay? And there are tons of things that you should be inspired by from the startup, but I don't think that their identity should be an inspiration. Because you really have a different culture here, and your identity should be inspired and the derivative, the consequence of your culture. Which is, I think, very rich. So, you do the picture hunt and you have these walls of pictures that really you love. They are with you, they are your pictures. And then on this exercise, you can still be the whole team together, the team of founders, bringing some pictures on the table. But to be honest, it's here that there is one member of the team, of the founding team, that is saying, okay, I feel comfortable doing this. I feel comfortable leading the design questions. Often it happens that it's the CEO, but it doesn't have to be always the CEO. Okay? It's really the one who feels the most comfortable with design and communication. And then there is a moment of execution. And I don't know what stage exactly you are, and I'm happy to discover it afterwards when we're going to meet each other in one-on-one. But I really encourage every entrepreneur that I meet to start having their own brand identity designed by themselves. You know, even if it looks crappy, even if it doesn't look professional, even if it looks a little bit weird, because at least we see and we feel the intention that you wanted. And I would really recommend you to go as far as you can, not to feel, not to be, to fall in love with your own artist part, or it's not the thing. It's really, but because it could be actually the best brief ever you could give to a designer by doing it on your own. You know, to go as far as you can. Because often I see startups who come and who try to pretend, for them it's really important to appear professional and not to show that they are just three dudes in a garage, you know, like pretending that there is a team behind and it looks really super professional, and this message, here we see that really we can trust them because the landing page is serious, okay? But we are missing the point here, because the thing is that you want to close clients who don't give a shit if you're serious or not. They are in love with you. There is a connection. They believe in your mission, and they want to bet on you and to start with you. So being alone or being just the three dudes in the garage is okay for them. They feel excited. Your first clients, they feel excited to be teaming up with you. So on the website, at the beginning, it's the same. We want to see the real story, the authentic story, you know, and then it will evolve, you know. Because, of course, today when we look at the landing page of the startups that have evolved, they look super sophisticated and very professional. But if you take the first version looked crap. But it's necessary, actually, and it's been important to look crap at first because it's, you know, it's a process that evolves. Your brand identity will evolve. That's for sure. But your values will stay the same, but your brand identity will evolve. Okay, so in the execution, I really encourage the people to go as far as they can on their own, and not to count on an external agency. If you're working with a freelancer, it's great, but at least you have to do this job of briefing the person with the right direction, like who we are, what are the values, and not bullshit values, like values that are really different and that really are from you. Okay, so I did this exercise. So once you've done these 3 steps, okay, really I encourage you to do this. It's never losing time on this. Huh? It will help you all along the path of your startups, okay? Because then it gives you, you know, a way to make decisions. Whatever you do, whatever, like you have to write an email, you have to, you want to launch an event to invite your clients to start building the community feeling among your clients. Whatever you do, once you know what are your values, and you have this Pinterest wall with a lot of pictures that can help, you know, find some direction in the design for each thing that you create, it will really accelerate every decision that you will make regarding identity. So once you've done that, you arrive with this more synthetic. So you go through the swag form and you make a synthesis. What is interesting for me when I read the swag form of every startup that we accompany is to get the very substance of what the startup does. What we believe. This first column is you as a president of your country, the president of your country. Like you take some distance and you have this mission statement and you're looking like 20 years ahead, okay? And you dare saying, okay, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm fighting against, and I need this tone, I need like this, you see that behind the manifesto, this was like maybe the first week of the family with my co-founder, we sit down and we wrote this manifesto. Okay, it's still it's something that has been true all along the way. It's really the vision, is the why we do what we do. Okay, the drive. But we dare pretending, we dare imagining that we are president. You know, we take this kind of position. So these are the beliefs. I took this. I made this exercise for the family because it's what I did and what I know most. Okay, so what we believe capitalism has changed thanks to digital. More people can access to information and clients. We believe anyone can become a great entrepreneur. I think you can read it here also. We believe that internet allows singularities, you actually, to emerge. But the context can still be toxic for them. Your fucking bad ecosystem, local ecosystem. Ambition can be taught. Big changes always start with a small group of committed people. It's time to leverage the dark matter, blah, blah, blah. So these are the list of things that we really strongly believe in. Then you try to extract the values, okay? At the family, we say there are 3 main values. Actually, it's actions, it's not values, and just the wording. Dare, care, share. So dare to be ambitious because we really need more ambition and to learn ambition here in Europe. Care like much more care for your customer, and care because by caring you create relationship with the others, and that's the thing that we all need at the end of the day. And share. I really encourage all of the entrepreneurs from the family to share with the others what they've learned and to be in this mindset of pay it forward, you know, like that we wrote also on the wall, which is even if you don't know how it will pay off of giving, okay, share. Don't be a judge. Always put yourself in this position of how I can help the other, and sharing your contact, your knowledge, because you're not in competition together. You're actually potentially the part of the same community, and the more you give, the more you will receive, and actually exponentially. So dare, care, share are the values, and the Chinese portrait. It's always funny to see how you transfer, how you imagine what kind of film, music, or book. And if I play that game, the film of the family, I would say Grand Hotel Budapest. I don't know if you've watched this film.
The best.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Because there is this giant hotel.
It's like an art piece.
It's an art piece. It's a lot around care. It's a lot around how to help the customer. So it's the story of an hotel. It's a video by
Wes Anderson.
thank you, Wes Anderson, and he is very always with symmetrical images. You know, yes,
The tempo,
totally,
everything is, it's like a clock almost.
totally.
Yeah.
And very, very beautiful. So and sarcastic also. A lot of humor, you know, in his movies that I kind of like. Okay, music. Beat Don't Kill My Vibe. Because we really think that it's important, you know, to take seriously the vibe, the energy circulating between a group, you know. And the book Rules for Radicals. Well, it's a Chinese portrait. I mean, it's as if I answered it. But if you take another co-founder of the family, they would answer maybe something else. Okay, it's okay. And the translation. So this first part here, it's the synthesis of the form. Okay, the swag form that you will have. But this, I would say, is the translation by a designer. Okay. You've chosen to be the Grand Hotel Budapest. Okay, it means that actually Art Deco is a thing for you. We could explore Art Deco. Okay, this kind of translation, you don't have to have it naturally. Okay, this is often by interacting with a good designer, but you have to go through this first step first to be able to brief a good design. Okay, this was my my wall. I mean, you see a correlation between these images and the feeling that you have here in the place. I won't go through each images, but you can feel it. And this is the result in terms of identity. If you look at the Instagram, the space, and this is the space in Paris, and the website and the emails. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for finding a good designer? I've struggled with that quite a lot.
We curate a lot of good designer. It depends on what you want. At the family, if you ask me, I can tell you some of the designers. We've been training designers, young designers, to work with startups following this process. So I think there are two things. There are the fact that either you like you go because you love the style, and you know that you want your startup to be following this kind of style. But it's never for free. It's always because behind there is an intention and there are values that you share. So it's either you go for the style, but never forget the fact that the designer has to be really in an empathic mode with you. They really have to love you, to understand you, to be able to translate you. And so it's a lot about the relationship What is boring most of the time that I see is when there is a projection, you know, like when they just focus on what you do and they don't understand you. And this projection, like they have their own intention, and they will project on you and say, yes, you are this. No, 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 you didn't listen to me, actually. You didn't understood who I was to be able to give me that. And that's most of the conflict that I see, that many designers are actually artists. And the artists, you know, you cannot direct them. You are the artist if you are, you know, you are the director, the art director. You know the direction.
This is the exact tension that I've had with designers, where I don't feel that they want to be so much the artist, and they are not respecting that I am the artist and I need them to implement but I don't want to micromanage. So everything you're saying is, I completely resonate. And then practically, like, how do you?
A good designer, good designer understand the fact that they are not the artists, they are designers. So they are serving your purpose, and they are serving who you are, and they have to listen. I mean, when we did this, we did this 1 week, no, actually it was 5 weeks, five weeks program for designers. And they had to work with startups. And the most difficult thing for them was to shut up and listen to the entrepreneurs, really. Because they were all excited, you know, by the startup, the project. You have tons of innovation, so they were like, oh, I see who you are. And, you know, they were projection. And I was like, no, I know it's frustrating, but you have just to absorb, listen, and actually, it doesn't come from you, the direction. The direction is somewhere here. You are almost like a psychoanalyst. You are almost like, you know, like a therapist, you know. You have to listen. The direction is in there somehow, and you are a translator. And so, yeah, you understand that you are the artist. And the designer is really much more like a translator here in that case for your identity.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I struggle with the next step in terms of, let's say we have created good DNA, or we have created this first step, then we're happy with it, and then it kind of gets out of control, and there's maybe a CTO, and he's not even able to do this test, you know, is this us or not us? Maybe he doesn't care, maybe he doesn't have the feeling, you know. Does this mean that only people who have this competence can make these decisions and then micromanage everything? Or does it mean that you have to find people from the beginning who are in line with that? You know, should you look for that in hiring?
What do you do? What's your
I tend to micromanage. I mean, I'm the CEO.
Yes, and what is the startup about?
It's AdScanner, it's B2B2B.
Okay. And what you're talking about is the construction of the CTO, the product, the feel, the look and feel, the decision he makes are not following what you would have chosen.
Yeah, not because he doesn't want to, but because I think it's not, you know, he doesn't have this kind of experience or
No, it's not a matter of experience. We are all amateur. And being an entrepreneur is about enjoying being an amateur, and nothing is obvious. And you have to rediscover the hidden rules. And thinking because you've had an experience of building a product will help you for life. No, everything is always new. Just enjoy that new, you know. For sure, somewhere, somehow, someone could have done better. But now you are here together in this context, so how can we, I would sit down with the guy, go through the process, and not tell him this is what you have to do. But you also try to express why you feel like it doesn't make sense to do it like that. And step by step, you will discover the hidden rules behind. And it's not about micromanaging, it's about giving, because going through the step of creation with your CTO, it's about discovering the rules that, and asking yourself the questions, why I don't like this interaction, I don't like this kind of, the way, when the button is like that, I don't feel, because it's never a matter of aesthetic, it's always a matter of way of thinking. You know, for instance, so I remember when you go on the website of the family, it's just an example, but there are tons of examples like that. Huh? When you go on the website of the family, if you want to get out with your mouse, there is a little pop-up saying, bye-bye, see you, hey, good luck, okay?
No, there is one saying, never leave the family.
Yeah, also, the Godfather. Yeah, true. But it's, I mean, it's just like, it's a way of thinking. I will never beg for your email, like, hey, come back, I need your email. Okay, this is not my style. It's not I'm proud or anything. It's just that any interaction for me should be an opportunity to have fun or to make you smile or just to, you know, to share a good vibe. You know, I was talking about the vibe, okay? Any interaction for me it's worth making something to create a bond between you as a human and me as a human. Okay? This is a way of thinking, and it's a pop-up. But if you go with the flow of what you see online, you would ask for an email. And I'm not telling you there is a good way to do it. And of course, asking emails when you need it is super important. Okay? It's not there is one by one. It's just that the way the things are designed express the way you are and what you feel. And even for the button, I mean, all of these choices, he has to understand and he has to ask himself the questions. You know, are we generous? Are we very specific and super fucking precise all the time? You know? And sitting down with him and going through this and telling him, here, what we're saying is that versus what I want to say is that, is this. It's not micromanaging. That is the essential, dude. You know? I hear too often, I don't want to micromanage. Actually, I mean, my problem, what I see most of the time is people who believe that everyone will know how they will figure it out. But you, as a founder, your fucking role is to sit down, to do the thing with, and then, you know, it's like, yes, one, I micromanage, I do it with you, I'm your mom. Then you're grown up, you're a teenager, and you do the thing, but I check behind, and then you're an adult, and and you're better than me. And hey, live your life. But like, it's a process. You have to micromanage at the beginning. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed of micromanaging, actually. It's temporary. But one, you do the thing. You've been through that. You know how to do the thing. So, yes?
What if you didn't invest time to do this process?
And you can do this whenever. There is no problem of going back. No. I would include only the founding team for the form, and for if you have, let's say, a designer in your team, why not, or a product manager, because they often have this skill. I would use him or her for the face of the hunting images. But you're the CEO, right? And you make decisions afterwards. And but like having a brand that evolves is often the case. Huh? No worry, changing name or I see this very often. Don't be afraid of losing you know, the 1,000 people who already know you. Think of the 1 million who will know you. You know, it's okay. Yes. There is a lot of design in WhatsApp. There are tons of choices that what is magic is that you don't feel there is design. Because the design is following a purpose, which is like the shorter the better. But the sound design, the colors, you don't see, but behind it's not very, it's beige, the background. There are tons of little things that are telling you joy. I mean, all of these are choices of design, but when they started this and the way they designed this, they were really showing that it's usage first, nothing else. But this is design, Design is not having some stickers all over the place, or telling a story, a long story. I mean, design is also being absent. I mean, this is a choice. They made that decision. And it's also the DNA of the people behind when they started. They didn't give a shit about making it fancy. They wanted to make it useful. And that's their DNA, and we can see it. So when we use WhatsApp, we feel WhatsApp. I mean, we feel the guys behind from Eastern Europe, I think, no? When they started. So, what's your startup?
Basically, it's an alternative to freelancer platforms. It enables people to enter into contracts together.
Okay.
So very functional.
Yes, but still, look at HelloSign. Look at DocuSign. It's not the same style. Huh? They convey two different messages through the design, and they are very. I mean, it's a tool. You're all building tools and solutions, but don't think like we have to be seen as a product and as a feature, and you're lost if you're that. You're lost if you're bird or lime, in a way, in the heart of the people. I'm not saying that they are dead, huh? But in the relationship that you create with the people, you need to be an Apple or a Walt Disney, or. That's what we are. That's why we are here, actually, like right now, during this 45 minutes. Okay, so. 3 cases, just I wanted to show you. They came with no identity. They started, they were really new. There is a Vespod, the go-to resource for women when it comes to managing their money. So she's an ex-banker. She's based in London. She's a mom of 3. And she believes that women can actually live the life they dream about. So we won't go through everything, but basically she was upset because women has no financial education, and so they don't know how to save money, okay? And she has a long experience in banking, and even her making a lot of money, she didn't know how to save money, okay? So she was upset with that. And one day she entered a room in a bank, and the banker, the first question he asked her was, where is your husband? So she was so fed up that she started Vespod. And Vespod, basically, it's an education platform for women who wants to know how to save money. And we went through the process. And if you look at the value, so for her, it's very important to create emotions. She provides education. She wants to encourage independence and confidence. Chinese portraits, Darjeeling Limited, if she was a film. If Vespod was a music, it would be Rihanna, a Rihanna song. And if she was an animal, it would be a leopard. And here is the translation. She's more into pop, it's colorful, it's illustrative, it's pedagogy, but it's not boring, so it's made funny. She could play with vintage and diva, the woman who take the power. And there is something rebellious, okay? This was her mood board. This was the results, Vespod, okay? See? From here to there. And this and that is a very good brief for a designer. But it's a very good start for you also if you don't want to go through the designer. All right. I love this guy. They are at the entrance here. It's Kimono, so he's an entrepreneur. He's very enthusiastic in everything that he does. He's not that he's not a mathematician. He's really like, he loves product, down-to-earth things, and he loves material, he loves fabrics. And he decided to start a Kimono, which is a brand for startups. Okay, so if you want to print your logo on a sweat or on a T-shirt, there are tons of crappy players. He wanted to be the players for startups. Okay, to really respect the brand. Because he knows that there is a mission behind, and there is a team that will wear this T-shirt during the boring conferences, and it matters. It is something for them. It means something for them. So he respects that a lot, and he created Kimono. So Kimono is textile personalization. So he believes that it's a pain, but he says you wear what you believe in, what you work for, what you defend. Happy founders make happy employees, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Values, feeling of belonging, ambition with attitude, and joy and optimism. Chinese portrait, if kimono was a food, it would be sushi. Music, Kool and the Gang. Film, I Am a Legend. Visual identity, there is something from the warriors of Japan, very pop in the colors, fresh and young, boom, his mood board, boom. The first website, actually. Now the website has totally evolved, huh? But this was the version when we worked together, it was this website. And also because they have a place, I mean a shop, a showroom, it's more a showroom. All right, and the third one that I love also, so it's two sons of farmers. They wanted to grow strawberries in containers with no sun, okay, just with LED lights. They had proven, when we met, they had proven that this was possible just on one strawberry. And they were starting to build their containers. And they needed a name, they needed a brand, they needed a landing page, because the thing is your brand identity, your landing page and everything should also help you in your strategy. So their strategy was, we need to convince investors, because we cannot feed the world right now. Huh? It's going to take a long time to do some R&D to be able to produce the tons of strawberries that we need. Huh? So the landing page, the brand and everything, they should talk to these investors so that they could put the money, so that they could go to the next step, okay? So we found this name, Agricool. They believe that fruits and vegetables lost their quality, no flavor, they are full of pesticides, they are selected to be indestructible, but not to be eaten. It is possible to grow exceptional fruits and vegetables in a city. We've demonstrated it. What we want to prove now is that it's possible to do it profitably and at scale. By 2030, 30% of the fruits and vegetables will be grown locally. Anyone should be able to eat good fruits and vegetables. Okay? Values, Excelsior, legitimacy, human. Chinese portraits, of course there would be strawberries, they were food, but no cream, no sugar, just the fruit. A person, there would be Elon Musk, they are super ambitious, very, very ambitious. And a film, Tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen, it's a French film, a documentary made on all these people who are starting to have a new way of life that is actually taking care of the nature, of Mother Nature. So the visual ID, it's green, it's crafted, it's the future of food, it's friendly, it's arty. This was the very first version of the website, super crappy. It's greener, you know, it looks like nothing, but it tells a thing. Super crappy. But we don't care if it's not beautiful, you know? The intention is pure. The intention is obvious. They write on a big container in the nature. Eat greener, eat tastier, eat fresher, eat healthier. New deal, new field. All right. And then we had some fun designing, you know, because the container was for real, so we were painting on the containers. And then they grew and they raised funds. and this is the second mood board they did, because they rework on their identity. I told you it can evolve. And then you have a new website, a fresher website with a more, it looks more professional, right? But they needed this first crappy version that was conveying the very message, you know? You know, and I understand as well, like, most of the people think that you will raise funds or you will convince your customers because the data, because the obvious, the product obviously is better. You know, you think that you're going to convince because of the rational brand. It's not true. You will raise funds because the guy in front of you is really like feeling that he can make a difference by investing, or he loves your story and he wants to be part of your crew, you know. He wants to be with you. It's irrational. It's really because he has a crush on you. Same with the first clients. I'm talking about the beginning. Huh? And at the beginning, you want to create this kind of moment. So it's about being able to attract those people. And so by being fully, radically yourself. So you can attract the people who will relate to your story. You don't have to look good. You don't have to look fancy. Because actually, by being good or fancy or looking too professional with your visual identity, you will attract anyone. And you will not be able to make the difference between the one who will be the hardcore fan that you need, maybe the investor or the B2B clients or the end users. What makes an end user love using a first-time product, like a new product? The fact that he can talk about his friend at a dinner. Oh, I've discovered this crazy product. You know, I might be one of the first users, and they're doing so well. And you know, they feel like they're part of your adventure. Okay? Okay, guidelines, my friend. You understood. One person is leading the visual identity. Trust this person. Choose and trust. Okay, it's a nightmare. I'm working right now with a startup, like they don't know who is leading the design, so one is saying that, the other is saying another thing. It's a nightmare. And it tells a lot about the management and the way this team will be working if they are not able to make decisions between, you know, the CEO and the CMO. So decide and trust. Please avoid asking on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, which logo would you choose? It's your decision, okay? Really. There is no democracy, there is no logic in asking in the crowd. The crowd is not ready yet. The thing is, in a logo, there is nothing but your intention, like what you think. And because you will put so much, you know, effort and intensity, and it makes sense, so for you it makes sense. And you will create content saying why it makes sense. And so the people will receive this. And then they will love it. And then they will see what you mean. And, you know, the love is coming afterwards because you've been putting some coherence and some content. But the logo in itself, no one cares. You know? What will they tell you? Oh, I don't like red. Okay, what is perfect is already dead. Authenticity tackles the déjà vu. Okay, so don't go for perfection. It's super fucking boring, especially in visual identity. Go for something different that is really radical. We feel, what is the most important is that we feel what you want to give as a message. That is the most important. It doesn't have to be beautiful. The value remains the same. The visual identity evolved. You've seen it with Agricole. Okay, it's okay to have a totally different look and feel, but in the end, the values are the same because the founders are the same. The values come from the founders, right? But make it obvious, these values, for you. What is meaningful becomes beautiful, and not the other way around. It's not what is beautiful become meaningful. Very important, this one. Huh? A simple example, there is someone you meet, you're not attracted. Let's say you're at a party and you are free and you meet someone and you're not attracted by this person at all. But then you start talking with this person. And shit, what she or he has been doing, wow. You can relate to the story. You love the story. You share the same values. Oh, you've been traveling to that place. Oh, me too. Oh, you've been there. Oh, me too. Oh, you know, it's not just about having been doing the same thing, but it's also like, wow, I really like the way you see this. You know, like suddenly you look at this person and you start feeling like she or he is handsome while you were not attracted. What happens? Okay. What happens in between is that there is a meaning, there is something, there is content, there is a story, and the way you see the world is changing, and the way you see this person is changing. You understand that? It already happens to you, no? Oh, you dare not saying this. When, you know, you see someone, you don't think it's a person for you, but then you start talking for hours, and at the end, you look at the same person, and she or he looks amazing and beautiful, and you find charm in this person, and you say, beauty is this person.
This is the anti-Tinder mode, right?
This what?
The anti-Tinder, the opposite of Tinder mode. So not
Exactly. Yeah. It's not Tinder thinking. Yes. Yeah, Tinder is really based on the picture actually. Yeah. No, it's not based on the picture. Yeah, it's based on the content. But I mean, remember just having experienced this thing when you meet someone, you're not attracted. You talk with someone, and the same person and say, "Oh la la." Actually, there is something. Why? Because what is meaningful to you becomes beautiful. So share a story. This is one of the rules of Pixar Studio, and I love this rule. When they explain how to make a great story, they say you admire a character for trying more than for their successes. So that's the thing when I was telling you, don't look professional, don't look perfect, what is perfect is dead, etc. And what you need at the very beginning is the people who will be happy to be your buddy. May they be the investors, may they be the customers, may they be the B2B clients. They need to feel like they are part of the story, and to, you know, it's showing vulnerability. It's showing your real struggles. Showing it's not about I'm weak. It's not saying, oh, I'm weak, I need your money. No, it's not that. It's here is where I want to go. Here is where I am. I'm going to go there. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. So many challenges. Come with me. We'll make a difference. Yeah, let's be together in this adventure. So showing how much you want to try, how much sharing the intensity, how dedicated you are to the mission. Much more than, hey, we've done this, yeah, you know. This is creating distance. You want the people to feel like they belong to your adventure. They see, you know, step by step, the differences, the path, and they can see the evolution. Don't pretend that it's always going like perfectly good. Saying we're fighting for that now. Okay, a good visual identity is not beauty and aesthetic. It's not following trends and popularity, and it's not looking serious or professional. This is clear now. A good visual identity is meaningful, unique, and personal. Meaningful with your own beliefs, unique, it's surprising, personal. Please do it yourself. And test things. Like, what is super boring again in visual identity is the fact that it all looks the same. It all looks the same, and there is one area where you can innovate is this one. All of the rest, the product itself, the way you manage your team, there are tons of inspiration that you can take from any other startups. But visual identity, seriously, no. It has to come from you. Okay, my love. Thank you. if you want to send me an email, but I'm on the Slack. I'm not yet on the Slack, but I'm going to be on the Slack. alice@thefamily.co. Yes?
Is there time for questions?
Yeah, of course.
First of all, I just want to say I've actually seen the branding for the family for years, and it is like hands down my favorite branding I've ever seen, and I didn't know you were behind it. I'm like such a fan.
Thank you.
It's like I love it. It also the Egyptian kind of feel to it. I love it. That aside, I just had to say that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
It's as a all or nothing. Huh? Many people hate it also. Many people.
They don't have good taste.
No. no. But at least it will attract a certain kind of people. Yeah. Sorry.
So I have a home decor marketplace. We're working with tribal artisans around the world and connecting them to modern homes and spaces. And one challenge I have, you touched on it a little in your almost second or third to last slide, is where I feel that, you know, I stand for like very deep, authentic values that are like grown within me, like seeds that grow into a tree within me. But I feel a certain amount of pressure to conform to the home decor trends. And you said don't follow trends, but there are very heavy trends in home decor, especially for my target market, because I'm really targeting the conscious consumer and millennials and boho, people who like go for boho decor and Scandinavian. And those are very established design aesthetics that have major trends going on, and I feel this conflict with like, how much do I speak to that trend? So I'm like, kind of, it's like can be a shorthand for, you know, like for example, we were talking about a big theme in home decor is plants in pink right now, and
I know what you're talking about.
so I feel like such a tension with that.
No, because you're missing we're not talking about brand identity here. We're talking about the product.
Yeah.
Obviously, here there is a flow of furniture that is coming, and they all look a certain way, and that's trend.
Yeah.
And you are not creating the furniture, right? You are okay. So you don't really have the choice here. I would say like your identity should talk about what kind of style do you promote, okay? And it should it starts from your product, so it starts from the kind of furniture that you love. And I don't know, but if you're gonna go for one style or for plenty of style. Can you send this to everybody, because there is a Swag form in this. Swag form, simple questions, go through it, do it whenever you have time. You never lose time by doing it. Okay, it was a pleasure. I'm here all day, of course, and I'm here tonight. Huh? Thank you.
Que la famille.